My kids, my two little boys, welcome to the show. This video and this YouTube channel are dedicated to you, but will be shown to others. They may see me as Jeff, but to you, I'm Dad. Maker of sandwiches, enforcer of rules, and getter on your mother's nerves. Now you've probably heard me argue that a hot dog is a sandwich. You've seen me hunt for Nikes from the 90s, and you know I'm really into my own hair. What you didn't get to see is a class clown in high school who got average grades but always answered the question right when the teacher called on him. Or the guy in college who was straight up boyfriend material, but no girl would cuff him because they didn't think he would be a good fit. Well, I am all of those things, plus more. And they are me. But we, us all, aren't defined by any of it. We're gonna be alright because we got a lot to talk about. The other night I went out to eat with my white friends, or my friends who are white. Anyway, my last remaining single friend was called a playa, and I said, from the Himalayas, as I should, but nobody knew what I was talking about. Because of course they didn't. My black friends who are black, whatever, they would have more than likely known what I was talking about. I think. Anyway, it's all a part of what makes me, me. My identity, my perspective, and how I perceive things, my worldview comes from being black in America. The experiences of being in this body with this skin color has shaped me more than anything. Even my memories are of black things, like sitcoms with all black casts, the food we ate, and being in love with Janet Jackson. Being black is the one thing that has remained constant in my life from birth until now. I am black, which is why I identify myself as such. Well, I am and have always been a male. Now, once upon a time I was a boy, and now I'm a man. I'm not sure when the switch happened, but I'm a late bloomer, so I assume it was later than everybody else. You should know that people identify themselves in many different ways, whether it be job title, credentials, status, money, and yes, even race. And when I describe myself to people, of course I mention that I'm your dad and a husband to your mother, but I'm also a full-time employee, a part-time athlete, a Buckeye, a son, a brother, and a brother. As you know, I was raised in inner city Columbus by my mom and with my sisters, and we were poor. Others around me lived similarly and looked similar to me. In my neighborhood, we were the sum of racist policies and/or bad decisions and/or tough consequences. This is seen as the overarching black experience. Now, I guess there's this notion that black people from the suburbs or from rural areas don't get it. Our bond as black people should be in the struggle to maintain and preserve our identity and heritage, tradition, and culture. A culture that's scoffed at, dismissed, and destroyed before becoming mainstream, and then being used for profit by those who tried to destroy it. As for me, I was singing the inner city blues. I was in the hood, just not necessarily of it, but I'm definitely a product of my environment. The unique hardships that came from being black in America gave us a distinct culture that's expressed in style, fashion, music, the way we dance, and even African-American vernacular English. With that being said, I've been told that I talk white because I sound like this. In some ways, I just wasn't black enough, no matter how many FUBU shirts I wore. Oh, there's this thing called a black card. It doesn't really matter, and it's not a real card, but I got mine taken all the time. So I was fortunate enough to go to a predominantly black school and then later a mostly white high school, and yes, that's the reason why I act like people can't tell me nothing. But I had the same concerns at both schools. Now, maybe I was just insecure, but feeling like I wasn't black enough for one crowd and too black for the other will do that. So if I thought, man, I am really looking forward to Fiona Apple's follow-up to title, she is really going to come into her own, I certainly wouldn't say it out loud with my mouth at either school. So not being black enough, which is the subject of a future video, and being called white are different sides of the same coin, which would lead one to being token, baby. But kids, I want your life and how you express your identity to be different. I want you to be your black, even down to how you wear your hair. However, no matter where your mother and I choose to raise you, it will be just as important to maintain your identity despite opposition and despite your surroundings. What won't be different is people trying to define what blackness is in general and how it applies to you. There are no limits to how a black person can be black. Educated and successful? That's black. Beautiful and confident? That's black. Overcoming? That's so black. Dope haircut? That's black. So I'm not more black because my favorite actor is Denzel, and you're not less black because you haven't seen Training Day. You're going to have to see Training Day, though. I mean, wait, who's your favorite actor? It's Denzel, right? Denzel Washington. It's probably Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan. Although blackness shouldn't be limited, you can be limited by blackness. People seem to think being pro-black is anti-other things, or just for black people. I celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus Day, and I'm not native. I'll wear a Black is Beautiful shirt, and I'm clearly married to a Hispanic woman. So, going back to that restaurant with my friends who are white, paying for my own meal for some reason, in scenarios like these, people would probably see me and go, oh, the token black guy. Well, there would be more black people around, but the average white person only has one black friend, so... With that said, you might be a white person's only frame of reference as a person of color. I mean, the likelihood of you being the only minority in a room is pretty high. Look around. It happens already. I feel like I'm losing my point, so let me explain the basics of my own personal identity. I want to be acknowledged as black, and I know people think it's proper to call black people African American, but I've never even been to Africa. I'm from Ohio. Whether someone says African American or black, just know that black is not derogatory or offensive. If someone thinks the connotation of black is negative, they need to check themselves. People will act like they've never seen a black person before unless they want to call you the token black friend or give a detailed report to the police. Which leads me to my next point. It's okay to see color. It's actually necessary. Not seeing color may come from a good place, but it's not practical. All the other physical traits are named and noticed, compliments are thrown around, people are observant. For instance, I can't grow facial hair, so if I see a nice beard, especially if it was full and thick, I would like that person to know. And no one would say back, oh, I don't see beards, I just see body hair of the face. Besides, I know people actually see color. When the summertime comes and all these newfound tans are shown off, people hold up their forearms to mine and go, almost there. So if people can say something about my blackness in some situations, and if they can see black skin on themselves, then they can hear about my black experience. Kids, talk about your identity. People will deny if personal identity is necessary, let alone a real thing. They will claim that heritage and culture can't be stolen. They will say that we are all one race and there's no difference and that black people have the same opportunities. So kids, I'll finish with this. I am black because my parents are black, and you are black because I'm black. I can't tell you what traits, interests, attributes, likes, dislikes, or political affiliations are essential to being black, but I can tell you that being black in America is essential. Now go play.
It's unbelievable what's going on, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. All my black friends have a bunch of white friends. And all my white friends have one black friend.